Hey guys. Hello. Hello everyone. Nice to hear you. Oh, oh, excellent. No sound. I will mute. Oh. Oh, hmm. Can't hear Marina. Okay, but not Paul. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, for sure. Hello guys. I'm Marina from if you don't know, I'm also a film photographer. And I created IfWeFilm with the aim of doing film photography workshops. And I'm based in Bristol. And I mean, I know that I have a 100% accent or from Britain, but yeah, if you don't know, I'm from Spain as well. I know, yeah. So yeah, let's see. Marina coming in loud and clear. Fantastic. That's really well. Right, so we have today a special guest that maybe you might know. And yeah, I think, well, he started to do a really great film photography related blog long time ago. But well, he developed his passion as well with many in other fields. And I think he started at the 2013, a really long time ago, right? Think, yeah, and yeah. So he's actually, well, he's doing it as well. He's still doing it. So I'm not sure when are you going to show. So Hamish,
Hey,
are you in?
okay. Am I,
Hello, Hamish.
can anybody hear me?
Can everybody hear Hamish voice?
It's because I'm here. This isn't working because I'm here.
Yeah,
Think wait, can I
maybe.
get oh, it broke last time.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I think we got, well, they got technical issues as well.
Yeah.
But they could hear you, but the yeah, they couldn't see you.
The only thing that actually was
Well,
broadcast at the time was me.
by the way, guys, this is actually my first time speaking directly to Hamish. Our first time meeting in a virtual way. So nice to meet you, Hamish,
Good.
officially.
Okay, good news,
Well,
guys.
I can hear that
Apparently,
apparently they
people
can
can
hear
hear
me,
Hamish,
so
people can hear
Yes,
you.
fantastic.
I know, see, I can't hear Paul either now. See, the funny thing is earlier on, when we did the test for the audio, when Paul tested it with me and he was talking to me over Skype, I couldn't hear him then either. And he was like, it'll be fine, it'll be fine.
Can you
Turns
guys
out
hear me
not.
now?
I,
Huh?
I can hear you now, but very, yeah,
Can you hear me at
don't,
all?
not quite.
Okay, right, you guys carry on with the questions. I'm going to keep cracking.
Carry on with the questions, right, guys? Well, so I'm going to be today as well.
Really enjoying seeing Paul's stressed out face again.
We jokes lads. Apparently, we can hear me now, so I'm back in. I'm only slightly stressed, which is absolutely fine. Marina, well done. You know, we said about how you were going to help me out just in case. The first
Yeah.
12 minutes has been entirely you.
Well, this is like been like really a good challenge for me. So yeah, thank you so much.
Well, we've already got Lucy, who is my wife, saying, Marina, you're doing an awesome job. So,
Oh, Lucy.
There we go.
That's so
All right then.
you.
We're in. Thank you so much. Well done. Good intro. First of all, cheers, everyone. That was
Oh yeah.
as
Cheers.
seamless
I need
as
it.
we'd hoped. Apparently, I'm now too loud. I mean, honestly. Anyway, right then. Thank you. Brilliant intro. Yes, Hamish, thank you for joining us. Marina, thank you so much for stepping into Graham's shoes. As I said in my brilliantly comic... Well, you know what? I'm not going to repeat it. Just assume that the first 30 seconds were hilarious. Absolutely brilliant. I'm going to do a round of applause for myself. Yeah, thanks for joining. Now, Hamish, you'd said as when you were coming in, we have a few things that we could spend some time talking to you about. You, as a guest, we are, episode 5, you vetoed more topics than everyone else who we've had on so far, like, in advance, which is very strong.
Yeah.
The one that you vetoed, but people have asked me about, so I'm going to unveto very quickly, Pixelator. Pixelator. You said, please don't make me go through this again. Like,
That's
not
not quite accurate, is it? I didn't say I wouldn't talk about it. What I actually said was what I don't want to do is unnecessarily promote something that I don't know when people are actually going to get. So you can feel free to buy one off my website if you don't already have one. But currently there are 4 in the world, and I have 2 of them here. So
hang on, let's zoom right in on you. So okay, so this isn't a promotion, to be clear. We're not encouraging people, although if they do buy, that's fine. Let's zoom right in. So it's just Hamish on the screen. Hamish, you have the screen. Show us the goods.
Well, I've got. That is set up for 35mm film, and this little doobry here goes like that into different positions depending on
it doesn't fall out.
It doesn't fall out.
Wowzers! Look at that.
See?
Okay.
And then this is for 120, which again goes into different positions.
Yeah.
Like so. And that doesn't fall out. Although it doesn't. The big problem, the sort of last and sticky design issue is it's not entirely flush there. So if you've got like a really bendy bit of film, you'd have to sort of put it on the surface and then push on that. But you know.
And do you have one that's set up for APS? Do you have one that's set up for APS scanning?
No.
Oh.
Do you know what the millimeters height is of APS film?
Well, I mean, it's such a high quality film. It was advertised so strongly as being better than 35mm. It must be really, really tiny.
5 millimeters.
5.
The thing that this does is you can move these gates. So it's not that thin, but it might be that thin. And also, when things get going with it, the idea is that I'm gonna. So this is obviously that's set up for 5.4 film. But when things get going, I'm going to make public the internal dimensions and the sizes, release the drawings basically for all of that internal shape, so people then can design their own gates.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah.
So then people can literally scan APS, scan 110 and stop bothering you for different variants?
Well, no, actually I want them to carry on bothering me, because the idea being the more I get bothered for particular sizes of gates,
that's true.
the more likely I'm going to become to have them made properly, you know.
Yeah, although from personal experience, I'd say that the number of times people talk about a format and the number of times people will put money to support the format are not correlated.
But this is exactly why, you know, I would have to get a lot of requests for a 126 size gate, for example, for me to do it. But that's exactly why I'm going to release those internal dimensions and let people 3D print their own, and eventually I want to be able to host the 3D print, the 3D, you know, the files, whatever you call them, on my website, so people can then download them for themselves.
Well, people are very complimentary about that. Neil's already pinged saying, wonderful idea, Hamish. Jeremy Norton, he says, genius. There we go.
And how would you actually use it?
Sorry?
And how would you actually use it? So, for example, let's say that I buy it from you, and I want to scan my 35mm
Can we
Okay,
we
let's
talk
say.
about 120 because I've got that to hand.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. So, okay, I got a strip of 120, a negative 120, and I want to scan it.
All right. I'm
So-
zooming in on.
This is quite difficult to. So basically, you take. So the frame and the gates come off the front, and that's the diffuser.
Okay.
So you turn the frame sort of upside down. You take the smaller gate out first, turn the frame upside down, put the film in. I can't tell which side it is, it's too dark. Put the film in so the emulsion side, the sort of matte finished side, is facing upwards, like that, if you can see. And then you just place the diffuser on the back like that, and then turn it over. And then I can't do this properly because I'm trying to do it at a silly angle. Hang on. Let me just put it in the right way round, and then I'll show you. Right. Oh, for goodness sake.
This is what TV used to be. This is like a Blue Peter episode, 70s.
So then, with your film in like so, you then put your gate like that, and get yourself a light source of some sort, like this.
Okay.
And then put it on the light source. That's going to just completely overexpose my. Oh, there you go.
Oh no, there we go. Yep.
There we go. Oh, nice. Yeah.
So
good.
the idea being, actually, ideally, you would mask all of this light.
Yeah.
Ideally, you want us to just stop working. So the only light that you want to see is the light that's coming through this bit here, if you see what I mean. So I'm going to make a light source that this just sits on top of and is completely like surrounds the underneath of it.
So Marina, you work in a lab. You do a lot of scanning. What's your professional verdict?
I mean, professional verdict. Oh. Okay, so I think my professional verdict would be that is actually a really helpful tool, because I had a lot of questions, like people asking me like, okay, I don't have at the moment like £300 to spend on a decent scanner, but then they still have digital cameras, for example, and they still want to have their negative scan in some way. So that's a really good idea. I like this. That's a really good tool to have the negative flat, which is for me one of the most difficult things when you're scanning, which is because if you don't have the negative flat, then you're not able to like focus properly the negative. So I think it's doable for that.
You were saying, so you obviously the people who have backed it know that the last couple of years have been quite stressful. Things have gone up and down. But you're saying people are pre-ordering, even though you've presumably got warnings all over the website that say things aren't quite ready yet.
Yeah,
picked up on the fact that it's a good idea.
Well, it's sort of because obviously nobody knew that that thing that's happened recently was going to happen. So see what I did there? Didn't manage to
exactly no C word.
No C word. So just in the run up to it happening, I was getting really, really close to shipping. So just as I was getting really close to shipping, I was agreeing to things like it being featured in magazines, for example. So I sent a kind of a cobbled together version to Silver Grain Classics as it now is, and so that it was reviewed in there positively, which is nice. And then the other day, Matt from Ilford wrote an article for Amateur Photographer magazine and mentioned it in that. I think people just talk about it places on the internet that I'm not necessarily aware of. So I mean, it's selling kind of on average, I'd say 3 or 4, no, probably 5 a week, I would say. and has been at one stage. I mean, I had this weird rush at one stage. I think it was just before everybody thought that it was going to happen when the thing happened. And yeah, I sold about 30 in about 3 days. It was,
well, this is it as
weird.
well, because it's not even as though there's no word of mouth of the whole, like, someone being like, oh, how do you scan? Oh, I use the pixelator. Da-da. Like, or, you know, you're around at a friend's house and they're just using the pixelator. You know, none of that's happening yet.
No.
So you'd hope that'll come down the line. But no, I mean, I think I've got a text somewhere from you that says, shall I bring your pixelator to the photography show? Which did not age well. That was two things that haven't quite happened yet. Okay, then.
But it would still happen in September. Come on.
It will, exactly. It will happen. Think positive. All right, then. So one thing that I said in my, again, brilliant tee-up at the start that was hilarious was that we had some technical issues last week with the free lomography film that we're going to give away. So we're going to roll that over. We've also got more... Sorry,
I have technical issues on this.
It sounds unlikely.
That was a thing.
It sounds very unlikely, and I appreciate that. Thank you. When I said to Graham, look, Marina's going to step in and be an upgrade in every single way to you on the show.
Of course.
He said that's fine as long as she does 3 things. 1, wear a jacket when doing the quiz.
Yeah, I got it.
2, drink vodka. I mean, she's drinking wine. And number 3, take the piss out of Paul. So she's 2 out of 3. Yeah. So anyway, can I just say I was going to take the piss out of Paul quite a lot, and I have been given 2 very much contrary. What's the word I'm looking for? Sort of words of advice on how to approach being on your YouTube thing. Yeah. One was from Jeremy, who told me that I'm something like articulate and intelligent, and I should be articulate, intelligent, and not troll you. And but Neil said, let me just read Neil's message. So Neil said, hang on, let me at the same time open up Neil's Wonder Points account so I can delete Wonder Point for every insult he gives. Yeah.
So I said to Neil, so Neil said, so they conned you in tonight's show. Hey, this should be entertaining. And I said, yeah, Jeremy has told me on Twitter that I need to behave myself. Neil said, fuck that shit. I would rate. I would. Hang on.
Let me bleep this. 1 sec. We've only got a glockenspiel. And I missed it. But anyway, carry on. Sorry.
I'm just saying what Neil said.
Yeah.
I'm only saying what...
It's a direct quote.
What?
Raise hell. This is the place.
Neil's fault, not mine. Neil's fault.
No, there we go. Excellent. So we will yet to see. Well, at the end, we'll review which advice you took the most. Nice. So yeah, so we have some lomography films to give away. We also have some Kodak.
Yay!
To give away. It's expired in that it should have been used before January 2020.
Well.
Which, I mean, expired, expired. But we have 2 things. So we're going to have 2 challenges live on the show that we want everyone to get involved with. And rather than try and do it retrospectively, which is what went wrong last time, we're going to do it live. Now, the first, you will need a pen and paper for both. So if everyone just wants to grab a pen and paper, the first one, I'm going to be challenging Hamish and Marina, who are just going to play for fun against each other. The real prize will go to whoever gets the highest score in the comments. So grab a pen, grab a piece of paper.
Okay, got it.
And what we are going to do, if everyone has that, and again, trust is integral here to this whole show, as in life. So no Googling, please, and submit your correct answers. Not like that Neil chap who apparently did like 35mm films in one retrieving session. Dodgy bloke, heard it all along. Okay then.
It's distracting me now. What do I need to do?
So, have you got a pen and paper?
I've got a phone. I can write on that.
Sure. That'll do. All right then. Pen and paper / phone. What you will do, I am going to give you a brand, a photography brand, who make film. And you need to, in a minute, write down as many of their films as you can in a minute. Okay?
Okay.
To make it more difficult, while you're doing that, I'm just going to randomly read out film names from other brands, just to distract you.
Okay.
Because then otherwise it would be a minute of silence.
Can I take out?
No,
of the...
no. You have to leave it in.
Oh.
If I probably won't accidentally mute myself, unlike everything else. So it's you two playing against each other, but the people in the comments are playing for some of the film from that day. So is everyone ready? So I'm going to start a minute. Hang on, I've got a minute counter. We're going to do a minute counter. You have to write down as many films as you can from Lomography.
Yeah, and the time.
Okay. Yep, the time has started. Meanwhile, I'm going to randomly read things out. Street Candy, Sinistel, Crosspro, Ectochrome, E100, Kentmere, 400, Fujifilm Industrial, Portrait.
You're making this hard. This is not.
Yes, I know, deliberately.
Rambling my brain.
APX 400, T-Max 400, Double Film Pacific,
The other one.
Pancro P30, Potsdam, Gibby, Beamer FN64, Antares, 5 seconds left, guys. Fujifilm Belvia,
Whoa.
Revolog, Streak and stop. Stop.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, how did we do?
Bad.
Really bad.
All right, let's take it in turns. So, Marina, read out one.
Right. So that's going to be easy. Metropolis.
Metropolis. All right, Hamish.
Yeah, I got that first as well, Metropolis.
Nice. Okay, good branding. Well done, guys. All right, next, Marina.
Lomochrome.
Ooh, that's not a film by itself.
Lomography, Lomopurple? No.
Too late. Right, Hamish.
Babylon.
Future one. Yeah. Marina.
Berlin.
Yeah.
Despite having had my hands on this before a lot of other people, I don't really know how to say its name. Is it something like Phantomime or something?
Phantom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Keep going through. I'm just looking at what everyone else has got.
Okay. The next one is Lady Grey.
Yes, correct. Hamish.
I got Purple.
Yeah, I'll count that. Marina.
And I think it was F2.
F2. Yep, correct.
Yes. I wasn't sure.
I got Potsdam after that.
Potsdam. And how much is that? Did you get in total?
Well, I've got 4 more.
Right. How many of them are real?
But they're just numbers now.
Okay. So how many? Oh,
that's right, isn't it? 800, 400, 200, 100. That's got to be
200. There's no 200. No. And they're CN 100. So no, sorry, none of those. Marina, how many did you get?
So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's
5.
it.
Brian got 5. I'm seeing. Hamish, how did you get?
Well, if you don't count my numbers, which is rude, 5.
5. It's a draw. All right then. I'm just checking what people are saying. So Neil Piper, if we believe him, got 6. Rach got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8's pretty good. Let's have a think. John didn't reply. He just was giving Hamish some beef. Jeremy said he gives up. He doesn't know any. Colin got 0. Gemma, let's have a look at Gemma. Lady Grey, correct. Lomochrome Purple. Turquoise 3, 4,
Turquoise.
5.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yep. We've got a 10. London Backpacker got 10.
Wow.
Dale Willits got 11, and Joshua Cole with 12.
Whoa.
Joshua Cole, I can't see anyone who had more than 12, but there are some good ones in there. People are getting Red Lobster. That's not one. Kenneth got -1, which means he must have guessed one and got it entirely wrong. Okay then, so unless anyone can beat Joshua Cole's 12, Joshua, congratulations, you have some Lomography film. Oh, there we go. Kenneth's explained his -1. It's because he only managed to remember 1 and it wasn't right. So he docked himself a point. Very noble of you, Kenneth.
Yes, very noble.
Cracking. All right then, so Joshua, first of all, please write up the 12 that you got so we can all see. and then drop me a note afterwards, and IfWeFilms are yours.
Well, congratulations.
Oh, he's corrected. It's 11. It's 11. He said not 12. He's taken one off. I still think that's best, though. So, well done. All right, then. Hamish has left. It was a draw.
Oh.
It wasn't that bad.
Okay. Is that the...
That noise, this bubble machine of my children's just started going in the cupboard.
That's creepy. That's really creepy. Okay, then. So, that was one challenge down. Well done, everyone. Okay, a couple of questions then. So, people were very good and wrote things in. And I think one of the things that a lot of people were very interested in was what made you start 35mmC? Sort of where did it come from? And sort of linked to that, how have you kept momentum? And I think the reason that that's an important add is because I think lots of people have ideas for blogs. You know, we've got one as part of our business, and it's so hard to keep it updated. It's hard to keep remembering. It's hard to keep it as part of your life. You have a million things on at the same time. Your business, you've got Pixelator, you've got the co-working space, you've got your actual business, and then you've got 35mmC, which is one of, if not the most successful film photography website. How did it begin?
So trying to give you the abridged version. I was bored of being a professional photographer, which I was doing a lot more at the time than I do now. And I wanted to do something. So I started my photography with a point and shoot camera, and now I've gone back to when I was 9 now, which you can understand why this conversation can.
So you were fed up of being a professional photographer at the age of 9.
Yes. So when I was 9, I didn't want to be a professional photographer anymore. No. So I started. My nan bought me a point and shoot camera when I was 9.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it, and then just stuff happened, and then all of a sudden I was a professional photographer. And then I was looking for something to entertain myself photographically that wasn't being a professional photographer, sort of creatively. I was bored of it. So I was playing with like lenses that I was attaching to a Sony Nex camera at the time, and that was boring as well. And then I went into London Camera Exchange near me, and I bought a Yashica T5 because Gareth there decided to sell me one for £30. This was slightly before they got as silly as they are now, but nonetheless, 30 quid was still a good deal. And I stuck a roll of XP2 in it and went out and took some photos of my then very young, sort of under 1-year-old, or maybe just about 1-year-old, probably just about 1-year-old daughter, and got the results back and was like, okay, cool, this is what makes me happy. Point and shoot cameras are ace. So set up 35mm, which the C at the time was for compact, 35mm compact camera, obviously, whatever, and decided I was going to write a blog about compact cameras. Now, the thing with blogging, if you go on the internet and go, how do I do a blog? Everybody says, if you read all the kind of experts on how to do it, everybody says pick a niche and then pick a niche within the niche and then a niche within the niche. Yeah. Which is like what I did with compact cameras. And because I so tightly honed in on compact cameras and built the blog around that, that was what started gaining a bit of momentum for it. Then I got a bit bored of talking about compact cameras and started talking about other types of cameras. And in the process of doing so, kind of opened the floodgates to loads of other stuff. And then, 7 years. And now we're now.
And how many of the articles now that you do then are about, would you say, are compact cameras?
No idea.
Roughly, is it like it's not the majority? Is it the majority of your blogs now?
It's not the majority. It's not the majority anymore. No, but there is still a lot of people who see the website as a blog, at least a bit about compact cameras or about compact cameras and rangefinders. So I do get a lot of content around those types of cameras. But yeah, it's everything. It's everything now. And actually, the thing that I like the most that's happened in the last 6 months is that I've sort of tried to. The great thing about sort of producing a community-driven website is that if I start, I can kind of nudge it. So if I want it to be more about photography and less about cameras, which is what I've slightly done in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Just when people write to me saying, can I write this article for your website? I just say, oh, can you just like talk a little bit more about this or this or this? And then people see that, and then that inspires people to write about that type of thing more. So whereas it was very much kind of more technical and camera-y, now I'm getting more stuff that is about people's photography. So just this week, and the thing I like the content to not be just about the cameras, but I like the content that's not primarily about cameras, to just talk about why somebody might choose the particular camera they use. So this week we had some articles by a chap called Mark Wick, and one of them was actually just about a sport in Iran. And
I've just pulled up the sort of the screenshot of, I think it's the last 4 articles, and Mark Wick is okay in a traditional sport. There's Maxwell talking about Rolly and Fred. There's Charlie talking about drugstore film, and then there is a Canon Sure Shot review by Gavin Bain. So 2 films, 1 camera, and 1 sport in Iran.
Yeah, and the previous article by Mark Wick, which came out on the same day, was a really, really good one. His photos are just stunning. They are portraits that he shot with a Leica. So he talks in that article about his choice of why. I mean, Leicas aren't traditionally the first camera you'd think of for portraiture, but he talks about why he uses a Leica in that article, and that's the sort of thing that I now find quite interesting, and now seems to get the most interest from people, is the kind of, not just I like this camera because it does this, this, and this. It's I like this camera because it enables me to achieve this particular thing or that particular thing, and that's the sort of, I think that kind of inspires people a little bit more. So that's what I'm trying to push. And then of course, Sroyan's content the last few weeks. I mean, I messaged him before this saying that I would have to mention it. I actually had to ask him how to pronounce his name, but his articles, darkroom articles, are just
I didn't know it.
Some of the best received articles
to check that
I've had on the site. There's if you go on the homepage of the website, there's a big picture.
Why do you think that is? You'll have had darkroom stuff before. What's resonated in particular about Sroyan's?
Because it's so good. Bluntly, I mean, it's very in depth, but he writes. He writes in a way that. So when people submit content to me, and obviously I'm 1,400 and something articles in now. So I get a very good gauge of people's ability to write very quickly. And obviously, it doesn't matter whether or not they can write very well at all. I will edit. I edit every piece of content that comes onto the site to some degree or another. But Sroyan's content is very good because not only does it not need editing, but his ability to write and explain things is just absolutely on point. So if I judge content quality by not its volume, but if it is if there's loads and loads and loads of it, and I feel like when I've read it, I feel like it's taken me a minute, even though there's 6,000 words, then I think that's good content because it just it pulls you through the content.
And I think that's what somebody had asked about and I mean, you say 1,400 articles, and again, I dabble in blogging within the business, and Marina, have you done blogging as part of IfWeFilm, or is that something that's
not yet? But it's definitely something that I had in my mind. But I'm going to eventually do it. I was planning to do it more like vlogging instead, like YouTube blogs.
But I look at, you hear 1,400 and the hours of editing, and again, it can be brilliantly written, but even transferring it to the images and the sort of structure.
Well, I get this is one of the decisions I think that I've made in the past to make this work so well for me is that when somebody submits the content to the website, I want it to be their content. So when somebody submits the content, they become an author on the website, a contributor to the website.
Okay, yeah.
So, and I've got a series of guidelines that I've just literally recently rewritten. So when somebody becomes a contributor, I send them the guidelines, and they have their own login, and they can write the content and then submit it for review when they're ready. And then I either then go in and edit it, or I go in and then feedback and then put it back into draft, and then they edit it themselves and then resubmit it. So, but the main reason I did that in the first instance actually was so the ownership of the content remained with the authors. So people can come in if they want to, and they can edit their own content, and also they can reply to their own content. So when somebody comments on their content on the website, the email, it goes to me as well, but it also goes to the
so they can answer follow-ups, or if someone's asking for clarification.
And I just wanted it to be, once I'd realized that I wanted people to submit content to the website, I got this idea that it was, for me, it was about it being a community blog. And it wasn't really, I didn't really, I see myself as somebody who writes for 35MC. I write for 35MC a lot more than everybody else, but I just see myself as one of a lot of people who writes for 35MC. I just also happen to be the guy that does all the editing.
I mean, the way you described that if I hadn't been on 35MMC, I think I'd probably be picturing like a forum where someone can write something, they own it, and there might be a moderator. But there's still consistency, I think, is what I always find impressive. It doesn't matter who wrote it. It feels like I'm going to get a certain level of knowledge. I'm going to get a certain level. So do you think that over that 7 years you've built up has the trick been that your editing's got sort of better and faster and easier to get consistent?
Yeah.
Have you got a sort of a black book of people you trust that you lean on more, and there's fewer random submissions? What's the trick to that?
No, there is a lot of random submissions. I do have a few. It sounds wrong to say favourite people who write for the website, because that makes it sound like I don't favour everybody else, and that's not really the case.
No, we will ask you shortly who is your favourite, but that's fine.
That's fine, and I can answer it. I mean, people like Sroyone and Christian Schroeder, who writes a lot for the website as well. People like that who I think they just get it, and they get what it's about, and they get that it's about putting something in. And Christian's content is just fantastic. He's a chap from Germany, and he just writes so well. Like, it's just, everything is so formulaic and well laid out, and then there's Aaron, who's he started writing for me recently. He's a writer. He writes for, I think, car or sort of car and bike magazines, I think, in the States somewhere. And he's great as well, because he's a writer. So when he submits content to the website, it's good straight away. But this isn't to put down everybody else, because the beauty of it for me is that everybody else contributes, and it's about that community voice. It's about everybody having that opportunity to, there's lots and lots of blogs out there, and I always encourage people, if you're going to write for me and you've got your own blog, link back to your own blog and reference things in your own blog, because it's the internet. It should be about linking stuff together. I just happen to have been, tenacious enough, I suppose, to just stick at it. And I'm a person, I think, to answer a question that was earlier on, I'm a person of habit, and I like this. I've just formed a habit, and that's why I've kind of stuck at it. I think it's just become something and it's good for my brain as well, because it's a really good distraction from all the crap that I deal with in my 3 other jobs.
Only 3. Well, actually, Jeremy pointed out that you are also responsible for Worcester Beers and Camera chapter, so that's another string to the bow. It's probably your main.
I've done that for a while. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, I think I've got more follow-ups, but we're just going to have a quick break here, and I think it's time, Marina, for your jacket. We've talked about the blog a lot, but of course we like to have on the show a section where we find out how well do our guests really know their own thing. So, Hamish, how well do you know 35MMC? Let's find out.
Let's see.
Over to you, Marina.
Let's test it.
Where's the jacket, please,
Right.
Marina? Jacket.
Yes. Sorry.
So
1 second.
I have, people who know me best know that I have 0 recall, so I don't remember things very well.
Oh
So
my
I'm
gosh,
just
this isn't velvet. This is like.
Okay, look, I don't have a jacket as cool as Graham, but I think that will do, right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
I wish I could wear a necktie right now, but oh well. Right, so we are going to test how well you know your own blog, Hamish. Are you ready for that?
No.
No, that's fine. No worries. Right, so I'm going to first read out the first question for you, Hamish. So, what was the first camera that you wrote for the website? Let's see. So you have to go back 2014, long time ago.
I can't remember which was the first article I published, but because I published a lot, I wrote a lot of articles before it went live.
Okay.
But I think it was probably the Sheikah T5.
Yeah, no. Good try, but it wasn't. So
I think it probably was the Sheikah T5, but I probably didn't publish that one first in that order. So, you know.
Right, so shall I read out the answer? Yep. So your first camera that you wrote for the website was the Fuji Class W.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Alrighty, so we've been talking about a lot about your website. So we know that the focus of the website was about 35mm cameras, but you know things can change with the time. And so, which camera did you describe as being the beginning and the end of your journey into medium format cameras?
My Makina 6.7.
Yes! Yay!
Hang on. I've got a party noise. There we go.
Can you tell us a little bit of the story? How did you get that Makina 6.7? Because I know that you've been using Hasselblad, right?
Yeah. So this dates back to the days I used to. So 35MC isn't my first photography website. I used to run a blog. Which I won't name because in case anybody searches for it, it's quite easy to find. And then I run a forum called Real Photographers Forum for a while, and sort of left that through a desire to not have anything to do with forums anymore, which is strange, being as I've now got involved in the DP review forum. But there we go. But when I was on that forum, I decided I wanted to have a go with medium format. And I went on there, and I was sort of aware of the Makina, but not very aware. And I went on there and I posted a question, you know, what would be a good medium format camera? These are my series of things that I want it for. And somebody said, buy a Makina. And I searched one at the time, and at the time they were, you know, even this is dating back a while, even then they were still selling for sort of 900 quid or something like that. And I kind of just was like, I can't afford 900 quid. So I ended up buying a Hasselblad and then decided that I hated it.
Why? What was the reason?
It just didn't suit me at all. It's the wrong shape. Just everything about it is wrong. Cameras are supposed to be flat things that you kind of hold against your face, not these kind of weird, stupid shape things that you look down into.
So you know that you could change the.
Yeah, and I even had one of those, but then it's just wrong.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I just kind of wasn't really into medium format for a long time because I kind of had this view, and I sort of still do, that if I'm going to take a big camera, then I might as well take something really big, and if I'm going to take something not a big camera, then 35mm is fine. Medium format was this kind of thing in the middle that didn't really interest me. But then Adam Laws, who's somebody I've met a couple of times and reads the website, he decided to sell, which he now regrets, which makes me laugh, his 6.7, and I decided to buy it off him. And yeah, that was that. And then I didn't use it for ages, but I didn't need to. I didn't feel like I needed to. It's just been a camera that I just wanted it for ages. Like I should have just bought one back. Whatever.
I want to try it too.
Because it is just the ideal medium format camera for me, really.
Yeah, if you want to go compact and then still shooting in medium format, 120, then yeah that's a good option.
It's flat. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Right. So.
Click.
I'm going to
Okay, work.
continue with this challenge, Hamish.
Sorry.
Right, so let's go for the third question, which is, well, in your beginnings of your blog, you used to shoot quite often with your Leica M7, right? So, but what was the point and shoot that you tried to shoot next, and you took to a trip to, let's see if I can pronounce this well, Huddersfield or Huddersfield?
Oh crap!
Oh,
That was brilliant pronunciation, by the way, Marina. It was spot on.
thank you so much.
Put yourself in the mind of Huddersfield.
What did... I don't know what I took to Huddersfield. I remember.
It was a point and shoot camera.
Yeah.
Okay, can I give you a
I
hint?
remember some of the photos. 'Cause
Okay.
I wasn't driving at the
One
time.
word, Japan.
Say again.
One word, Japan.
I don't know.
Oh, you said about that camera earlier. I thought that you were going to say it straight away.
My T5.
Yep, yeah, correct. Indeed, you took your Yashica T5. oh.
I nearly said that, but the timing of it doesn't seem right in my head.
Well, internet. I was going to say internet never lies, but just forget about that because well, your blog never lies. There you go. Right. So, what was the next question I was going? Yeah, that's
Slightly distracted by a tiny bit of Paul's belly that I just got a glimpse of.
Right. So this is going to be very crucial because, well, what camera was used to shoot your daughter's Nora's first day in the world?
I know the lens.
Okay, the camera.
It was this. Well, I shot. The lens was my 50mm sonar, my Zeiss ZM sonar. It was probably. What camera would have that been? I mean, that could have been the M7.
Nope, but you are close. It is a range camera. Okay, it's not a SLR camera.
No, well, it had my ZM sonar on it, and that that matters the most.
Mm-hmm.
It was M6 TTL.
No.
What was it, Marina?
It was the Leica MA.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. How do we possibly know it? And well, his father. No, it's all right. I wouldn't. It's all right.
They're all the same. Leica similar. So I got rid of it because far too expensive camera that one was. I just swapped it for an M4P. It's better, same.
Well, fair enough. So I'm going to ask you the last very question, and it's something to do with a important member of your family as well.
Okay.
So let's see if you can answer that well. So the fifth question would be, what camera did you use to shoot your daughter Connie's second birthday?
Olympus Mu 2.
Yay!
Oh, hang on, party noise, 1 sec. Yay!
Excellent. Yeah. I think it was 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5.
Yay!
That is 2 out of 5. Yeah, hang on, we'll do a pause for that.
They were quite difficult, yeah.
I think I should have half a point for the sonar lens. In fact, 3/4 of a point for the sonar lens.
What do you think, Marina? Do you half a point for the lens?
Shall we give him 2.5 out of 5? Yeah.
2.5.
Shall we?
Okay. That's still pretty good. I mean, that beats out Graham's Sunny 16. How well does he know? So, no, that's pretty awesome. Good job. Thank you, Marina. Did you enjoy being the quizmaster?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now, I don't know if I like it.
You can leave the jacket on. That's totally up to you. You can rock that look. Well done. Thank you so much. All right, then. Okay, we'll carry on with a few questions and then the final challenge. Hope everyone still has pen and paper to hand.
Okay.
So, Hamish, you were talking a little bit about the fact that it helps your routine having the blog. So, is it something that you do sort of religiously on a Saturday morning or every day after a certain time? Is it part of your like daily routine in that way, or is it just as and when?
At the moment, it's basically every day, and because I haven't really got a lot else to do. I mostly do a lot of writing when I'm in the shower.
What? Okay.
Follow-up questions. Also,
With a waterproof laptop?
with a waterproof pen? With a waterproof phone?
Waterproof.
So, hang on.
With the waterproof
Just
note?
typing on my phone when I was in the shower. I think it's something to do with the fact that it's early in the morning, which I'm more creative in the mornings, and I think the noise of the water is good for my concentration or something. I just find that I'm very good at getting stuff out of my brain when I'm in the shower. So I've just.
I have noticed in the last couple of years where I've known you, the number of times when I'll text you, I'll try and call you, and you'll type back, "I'm in the shower," and I've always thought it meant like in the room that has the shower. Now I realise you're literally in the shower.
Very clean.
Yeah. Okay. I mean that makes quite a few of the video calls we've had make sense, but.
Okay, guys.
And I also write when I get to just changing the subject quite a lot as much as possible. When I get to work in the mornings and when I park the car and I'm sat in the car, I write in the car as well.
And you find that writing on a phone something that's.
I'm better writing on a phone than any other way now. Just because it's just habit.
Yeah.
I've literally been writing on my phone for 7 years. I used to have an iPhone, whatever the iPhone was 7 years ago, 4 or something, the tiny little screen. I used to write on that. So.
Wow. Marina, did you have a follow-up question on the shower and or the phone?
Not a follow-up question, but I have a question. Well, we've been talking about that you recently changed the style of the style of your content that you're creating, which is a thing that really it's quite interesting because you're changing the way of doing content of technical stuff to a more why do I want to choose the reason that people will choose a camera, but in a way what is the camera that suits me better in terms of what I really want to achieve in photography. So in your case right now, so are you on any photography project right now, and what is the camera that will suit you the most?
Well, funny enough, I just finished writing an article this morning about shooting the. I've got a Minolta Riva Panorama, which is a compact camera with a cropped. So it does a cropped wide format frame with a 24mm lens, I think it is. And I've been shooting that with Lomography Metropolis.
Okay. Nice.
And it just has the combination of the way the camera works that it's a point and shoot. You just don't have zero control. But because it shoots it at 100 exposure index 100, so it's at the sort of more exposed end of the scale with that film, so it always comes out reliably good, for that type of film good, and for a compact camera good, but I really, really like the results. And I've just finished writing a blog post this morning about just that experience being something that I've been really enjoying because it kind of reminded me how much I like point and shoot cameras and how much I get out of just snapping, just somewhere and taking photos and not thinking too much about it, and actually not thinking too much about the process afterwards, not cropping, not processing the images too much.
I remember Stephen Dowling, I think, once said, I can't remember
to take this off
was or the but it was like whenever I think he called the Lomo LCA the best solution to when you have a photography creative block, like that whole strip it back, you've got a focal zone thing that may or may not be accurate, literally that's it. Do you find that is that sort of the whole mentality?
Yeah, I think that's the same thing that why the Yashica T5 was so good for me when I was creatively flummoxed back in 2013 or whenever it was, late 2012, when I first started doing, got back into compact cameras. Yeah, he has a very good point. If you just take everything away and you limit yourself, well, you don't. It's not. I had real problems last year with limiting myself. I limited myself far too much and ended up undoing everything, and it was just a horrible mess. And I was really sad about everything. Well, not sad, but just distressed about my photography. But with a compact camera, it's limiting in the same. It's freeing in as much as it's limiting, because you just you don't have to think of anything. So you just point in the right direction, press the button, and if it comes out well, it's great. If it doesn't, well, so what? It doesn't matter that much. And I think that kind of throwaway nature of it, yet at the same time, sort of the throwaway nature of it, but combined with the fact that you're not, you haven't got that screen to confirm whether or not you've messed it up. I think that's what I enjoy about. And I think the thing is, people put too much, there's so much crap on the internet about, every photo has to tell a story, and every kind of, everything has to have so much narrative, and everything has to be important, and blah, blah, blah. It's all crap. Like, there's nothing wrong with just enjoying taking photos. There's nothing wrong with taking crap photos and putting them on the internet. If that's what you want to do, and that's what gives you the pleasure out of photography, is going out with a crap camera, with a crap roll of film in it, and taking crap photos, then more power to you, I say. And it's especially in this kind of, this with, as I say, with so many blogs and stuff on the internet, and people waffling about the utmost importance of taking the perfect photos and telling the perfect story and making sure that we're telling, keeping all of our stuff for future generations. It's all rubbish.
No, you can finish that word. No, because I saw something on a totally different topic, but I think it's the same concept of where someone was writing on a business forum about, like, why does everyone these days need to try and turn their hobby into a side hustle? And his point was, like, if you enjoy knitting, knit. Like, don't try and create designs to sell on Etsy, or try and write a knitting blog and turn it into advertising revenue, unless you want to. And obviously, also, that's totally legit. Like, that's also fine. But that pressure that seems to on everyone to don't just have a hobby. And you can knit something shit, but it's for your niece, and that's fine. Like,
or you can knit a shit thing and then put it in the bin, and it doesn't matter. It
doesn't matter. You enjoyed the process.
Yeah,
and it doesn't have to be for a purpose. It doesn't have to be for Instagram. It doesn't have to be for a blog. It doesn't have to be for your Instagram account you've created that's Paul Does Knitting, or whatever it is. Like, and we talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, just saying, it's a thing. It's not a thing. But that whole idea of photography being about taking photos rather than what you do with them.
Yeah. It's just, there's nothing wrong. The thing is there's nothing wrong with any approach. There's nothing wrong with thinking and saying that photography is important and photography should tell stories. And there's nothing wrong with having that opinion. The problem is these days is that the internet is powerful enough that those opinions are just constantly put out there, and I'm very careful. And one of the things that with the blog that I say to everybody is I don't want any content, I almost refuse to have content that's posted on the website that prescribes ways of thinking, because there's quite a well-known film photographer who's around I don't know if he's around these days. I blocked him on Twitter because I just got fed up with it. And his whole thing was like, look how great I am. Look how good I am at this thing. You should all be doing this thing like I do it, because the way I do it is the way to do it. And the way I do it is better than everybody else has ever done it before. And it just like, it's so sort of, it's so much of what people do now, that kind of attitude. It's being the expert and being the kind of best at the thing, or presenting yourself as being the best at the thing on the internet. And it's so tiresome. Like, can't we just put stuff on the internet and share it with each other and enjoy the fact that we're doing the thing that we like? Like, photography is just a self-indulgence. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be an expert at it. Like, and I get called an expert a lot, and I'm not. I do not think of myself as an expert. All of the things, the reason I know as much as I know about photography is purely because I write it down, and most of it I forget anyway because I've got crap recall, as I said earlier on. Like,
No, we've seen it, 2.5 out of 5. It's not good.
yeah. But there's no need to be the expert. There is zero need to be the expert. Just if you like doing something and you want to share it with people, do it and share it with people.
One thing that I get is I have the same feeling where I like the fact that even though I'm totally immersed in film photography every day, personal and now professional as well, because I'm running a business in it, people don't expect me to be a great photographer, which works perfectly. I'm not a great photographer. I've taken a load of photos. I love taking photos. They're not brilliant, and I'm okay with that because there's no pressure on that. I'm not out there saying I'm a professional film photographer, and I feel for people, whether or not they want to, that pressure of, oh, because you do it, you are therefore really good at it. I mean, Marina, you have a different view entirely because, again, you come from like the teaching aspect and you're in the lab.
Yeah.
When you go to Instagram and you put up photos, do you put up photos that you like, or do you put up photos that you feel other people like? Is there that pressure?
Yeah, certainly there's a pressure. Obviously, come on, because that's. I mean, I know that for a fact because I already experienced in IfWeFilm's Instagram that, for example, if I take a photo of cameras, will get more likes than if I take a photo and post it like my own photo there, which is really sad. But that's how it is. But anyway, the thing that you were talking about, like taking crappy photos and like, for example, like that kind of pressure of like being an expert or something. I think what is lacking here is that we, even though we think that what we figure, I mean, in myself, I think that I'm not that enough when I'm taking photos. But the thing is that we take let's say a crappy photo. We're always telling a story, like somehow it's us in that photo. So no matter, so yeah, the thing is that we have that pressure, but we have to, think about how important it is to, be true to ourselves by just taking what we want to take. That's the important thing, because from that you can create a story. Like one photo is not just, the final result. I think that like telling a story is like a series of can be tell like through a series of photos, for example. I don't know. I think
I completely agree with that. One of my sort of favorite online people in the community is Ash Carr. He's a photographer from quite nearby, conveniently, and we've met up and we did a couple of YouTube videos together. And his photography, if I showed you one of his photos on his Instagram in isolation,
yeah,
some of his photos are just sort of a bush. Do you know what I mean? It's a black and white bush by a fence. If I showed you it in isolation, you'd just be like, well, it's just a bush by a fence. What am I supposed to make out of that? But actually, if you look at his Instagram feed as a whole, there's the narrative that is told through all of the images is really interesting. And this is one of the things that we talked about when we did this YouTube together was this. And you make a good point, and every photo is, of course, the person's narrative. It's every photo that I take is part of my narrative. But I think the point that, Ash is very good at telling a narrative through lots of images intentionally. What you're talking about is perhaps us telling a narrative sort of just through what we're doing now.
Yeah, it's basically our job as a photographers. Like, I mean, there is always, that's why I always say that there is always a reason behind that moment that we pull the trigger of our camera. Is not like coincidence. It's because there's something that caught our attention that it was related to us. That's why. And our job is to, to review our work that we've done so far, so that we can, know ourselves a little bit more through photography, which is for me the beautiful part of it. But
yeah, no, I can. It's interesting what you were saying, Paul, about how people don't expect you to be a good photographer. I also like the fact that a lot of my photos that are on the internet are just test photos, just test snaps that I've taken with cameras, because a lot of them are just the reason I took it. If there's a narrative in the image, the narrative is I'm trying to work out how this camera behaves given this circumstance.
Exactly. I'm a colour wheel.
Yeah, and so, but actually, mixed in with a majority of those photos, I do have quite a lot of photos that I'm, I suppose more proud of. The photos of my kids, obviously. I talked about this in a video that I made with John. Those are the photos that probably have the greatest meaning to me. And then there's also the photos that have the greatest value, I think. Then there's also the photos that I don't think really have any value, but I enjoy taking the most. Some of the photos, I published an article recently about some photos that I took around an abandoned fire station. And I wouldn't call myself an urbexer. I don't think of myself as that kind of urbexy type of person. But I had a long conversation with somebody who phoned me this afternoon. Actually, he reads the blog but wants me to do some photography for him for his business. And he's an architectural he's an architect in London, and he liked the idea of me taking some photos on film. And I showed him the photos that I took in the fire station that were actually digital, and I think I changed his mind, because I was saying to him about I really enjoy taking these types of photos because I like going into these places, and I like taking photos that capture the sort of the lack of people. So I did a similar series of a swimming pool, and the swimming pool ones are probably, certainly in Worcester, were a lot more interesting because loads of people used to go. Sansom Walk swimming pool in Worcester was a very busy swimming pool, and it's the only reason they had to stop using it was that it's round full of asbestos. So I know some people in the city council through the stuff that I've done with the kilns, managed to get into this disused swimming pool, and taking photos in there, taking photos of this space that is now unused, the sort of the quietness of what used to be a very busy space was the thing that was most tangible, and that sort of atmosphere was something that I wanted to capture in the photos. And the reason I like my ZM Sonar, and this is going back to the point where kit connects for me to the choosing the right kit for the job. Then Sonar is a lens that I love the most because, given those circumstances, it does a really good job of capturing a sense of atmosphere in the results because of the lens formula and the way it's coated and all these sorts of things. So that kind of photography, that, as you can tell, I really, really enjoy doing it. But actually, yes, okay, the Sansom Walk photos were interesting to a lot of people in Worcester because they look at that and go, I used to go there, I recognise the diving board. But actually, those photos are enjoyable for me more than anything else, just because I like that process. I like that feeling of trying to capture that atmosphere and that sense of emptiness in a space that just had so much activity at one point.
I think that's really fascinating. I think one of the things that a lot of people, when they're writing questions and when they go on 35mmC, you do camera reviews, but it's not like 4 stars for usability, 5 stars, and here's a numerical number and a ranking, that kind of thing. It's more like there is that softer appreciation. And also, I pinged you the other day out of nowhere. You've inspired me to pick up a digital camera for the first time in a long time. Everyone shut their ears. Jesus. But it's a Fuji X100F that I've had for a while, and I've used it for product shoots. I've used it for work, basically. And then your series on the X100V that you're on now. And there was one that I've literally saved in bookmarks, which I never. It's not something I do. Was how to shoot it like a manual film camera, because it's that whole point of your mentality seems so opposite to analog versus digital, or this camera versus that, and the fact that taking the photograph can't be separated from the photo that you get and how you feel about it. And which one of those three you enjoy the most is frankly irrelevant. When you were talking about that, I've got these photos from a couple of years ago that I love of this deserted mining town in Namibia, where sand's blown into this town and just like whooped them through. I was so excited about taking the photos. I prayed, got the right camera, got the right film for it. The photos themselves, I look at them now, they're not that striking, but I just love them because of how excited I was of going there and how much fun it was and coming back. And when I think of those, when I see those photos, that's what I think of, which is nothing to do with the aesthetic. And as I say, honestly, most of them are not very good photos, judging by a lot. Put on Instagram, they wouldn't even be noticed. But that doesn't matter. Like I really enjoy that.
That's the point. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, who is going to judge? So now what is a good photo then?
Well, and this is what me and John were talking about. There's my video with him on YouTube. The sort of value of photography. We talked about the fact I've binned my negatives and other things like that we shan't get into now. But I think this is actually one of the reasons. Something you touched on there is one of the reasons that I am, and indeed something I touched on a minute ago, having zero recall. Actually, I don't think I would remember anything if it wasn't for my photos. And I look at a photo that I've taken, and some of my favourite photos, and oh my God, this guy that started writing for me, Gerard Exbury, his name is. His article, he's written 2 so far, and the first one was it's like goose pimples good. It's about it's honestly my if you could see it's dark. Honestly, it's fantastic. Like this, he talks about how he talks about the pain of his photography when he was younger, because he associates with the death of his father.
Sure.
And he goes into this on the blog, and then he talks about some of his photos. But he talks about how when he looks at his photos, he can remember, when he looks at it, he can remember just everything in that moment that he sees in the image. And I've got and I have that with most of my photos, because I take a lot of photos. They are like my memories, and I remember in photography. So if I remember a particular event, so when you said earlier about what photos did I take what camera did I use at my daughter's second birthday? I remember it was the Mewtwo, because I remember a particular photo I took of a couple of my daughter and one of my friend's daughter and my friend, and I think my wife's in the picture. And I remember the room that I was in, like the atmosphere in the room. I remember outside we had some bunting that we put up in the garden that went up from the yard up into the garden. I remember that because I took a photo of that bunting, and I remember a couple of my friends out in the garden, and the fact that a couple of my friends had come round, and my in-laws had come round, and my in-laws and friends in the same place at the same time was a bit weird. I remember that atmosphere. And I remember taking photos of those friends in that atmosphere, and being that slight atmosphere. I remember all of these things because I took photos. And that, for me, I think is probably the real value in it for me.
That's the power of photography.
That's it.
Yeah. Let me throw in a counterpoint that in what is it? The Beach. In the book The Beach, the protagonist talks about how he doesn't take cameras when he does travelling, because he has found that when you have photographs, and this is back in the world of analog anyway, so there was only a few, memories collapse to photographs. So what you described that scene, that's the memory you now have of that event. Do you think that's fair, that that's a way of accessing the whole event, or do you think that event has become that photograph?
Did you watch the series that was on telly the other day that was called The Quiz?
The Quiz? And
it was about the guy who wants to be a millionaire.
Oh, I've read about it. I haven't watched it. No.
Yeah, it's quite good actually. But anyway, there's a bit that the lawyer who's defending him in court talks about how the way the brain, and I don't know if this is true, but it really interested me, and I think it relates here. The way the brain works is when you remember something, you're essentially rewriting that memory every time you remember it. So when you remember it next time, you're just remembering it last time. I don't know if that's true. But,
no, I've heard about that before, because it's one of the challenges with anxiety and mental health is that you can strengthen negative thoughts through it.
Yeah. So, yes, exactly. So I don't think that having a camera changes that. It just, for me, because if that person that doesn't have a camera when they're remembering that, they're just remembering the pictures in their head of that particular moment that are changing constantly over time anyway. All I'm doing is a little bit of a visual, with my crap brain it's required, a visual kind of note. So yeah, I don't know.
No. That's it's fascinating to hear, because I think that does link back through the things that you do in your website, and we talked about it earlier, like the consistency. And it's less about, the way that things are phrased, because you say every writer writes differently, but having that mentality. I know if someone sends me a 35mmc article, I'm not going to see in it a strong opinion without any of the other side. I'm not going to see a recommendation without loads of caveats and okay, this is what I enjoy. Enjoy your life. Like, the philosophy behind it, I think, is really strong. And when you talk, and again, people are being very nice on the comments about it.
Yes.
That's what's coming through is and it's that whole you post about digital cameras, you post about it's 35mm, but it's a photography side in the truest sense, and then it's about.
I was trying to think the other day of a way to, because I'm not going to rebrand it, I'm not going to change the name of anything, but I've got the kind of an about page, and the about page is very sort of waffly, not in sort of quite.
I rewrite my about page like every 2 months.
Oh, it
just feels it oscillates between cringy and so vague it's nonsense.
Yeah. But the only word that I can think of that describes what I like to talk about is sort of alternative perspectives to about photography, but I don't like the word alternative either. So I need an alternative word to alternative to describe.
Maybe that can be the challenge. Maybe that can be the challenge.
There isn't. It's just what the website. What I've always wanted the website, continue to want the website to be about, is just a variety of people's perspectives that are, as you say, and as I say to everybody, non-prescriptive. And as I mentioned earlier, the beauty of the website is that it perpetuates the style of content that is on there. I don't have to tell everybody who writes for the website, you need to write in this one. Sometimes I get somebody write to me and say, oh, I'm interested. I think I'm going to write this article, 6 reasons you should buy a Leica M6. No, mate. No, you go and speak to someone else. That's not happening.
So to be clear, that title right there is what SEO trainings would say. The perfect title. Like, do that.
Yeah, but that's stupid.
Yet you have a stupid number of visitors, sites, page views, etc. Do you have an SEO strategy, or do you just write what you like about and trust that people will find it?
I started with an SEO strategy, and because I run a website company, so I knew a little bit about SEO,
which is quite important.
Yeah. So, but then over time, it's got. Excuse me.
Yeah, have some more whiskey.
It's the coronavirus kicking in.
You said it! For God's sake, man.
Damn it. Over time, the strategy has drifted from being, when somebody submits a review, I will do all of the SEO gubbins on that review. So if somebody submits a review about some sort of camera of some sort, I will make sure that it complies with the rules as Yoast SEO tells me, the one that I use at Yoast. But that's it. And actually, funny enough, now I've got so much time to spend on it, I'm going through a whole load of old articles and re-SEOifying them. Because there's some that I know, if I search for Leica M6, for example, or what was the one I searched for? I can't remember what it was. There was one I searched for the other day that I used to be quite high up on Google, and it's dropped a bit. I can't remember now. But anyway, so I've gone in and I've just started doing a little bit of tinkering. But like, I might re-SEOify 20 articles. There's 1,400 of the things on there. It is just sheer volume that generates the traffic now.
Someone's actually asked, and it's a good point. Someone said, what is search SEO? It's search engine optimization. So this is the probability that Google thinks your web page is good. So not what humans think, it's what Google thinks. Google will tell you that.
But without wanting to get too much on a tangent there, and I know you're very good at SEO, so there's the whole of a conversation that we could have that would probably be very boring for the people that are listening to this. But good SEO I used to call it, when I used to work more in websites, in the website side of my own business than the video side, I used to call it human readability optimization. If humans like it, then Google
Yes,
likes
that's a
it.
great name.
Yeah.
No,
So,
you're
yeah,
right. And Mike Beard has written in actually saying good content equals good SEO.
yes, that's quite
And that is
correct.
also what Google would say. You write for a human, the robots will learn. We know that robots are lagging, but there are tips. But like the example you said the other day, like Afghan sport thing will never be number one for a camera related thing or photography. But
I don't care about that, because that's about putting content out there that is interesting for people to read, and that content is never going to do that. I mean, it might do some ridiculously long tail search some point in the future, but it doesn't matter. That's not what it's about. It's about that side of things. And this is where the kind of the strategy, as you put it, is drifted. I just want to put content that people will like, and yes, the more. Somebody was talking to me the other day about, well, why don't you do this to monetize it, or why don't you do that to monetize it, or and I'm like, well, that's not what it's about. And yes, I mean, at the moment, despite the fact that marketing spend has fallen off a cliff and it's making a lot less money than it used to, the blog is actually quite likely to be a part of what keeps me afloat in the not too distant future if things carry on as they are. So
and that's incredible.
It's not it doesn't make a huge amount of money, but I know that it could make a lot more money if I tried. But I don't want to try and make money, because that would be boring. It would be boring for me to do, and it would be boring for everyone else to read. Because I could just create endless 6 reasons that you should buy this camera or that camera, but that's boring.
Yeah, and you're also then entering a race that it's hard to win in life. But that's a really interesting point, I think, of like, you have a brilliant resource. It has never been your main source of income, so you have never had to, like, I need to pay the mortgage next month, I better write 6 reasons to hate an M6 or like an M6 or why you should click this link now stuff and 12 adverts before your thing, because it's never been that. So you can be like a long-term view. And again, Google always says, take a long-term view of SEO. Never try and write for the robots, because the robots 3 times a day. You've almost landed on that. Do you think it's because you don't have that pressure to make it pay your mortgage every month until maybe recently, or is it just because goes back to your point of that's not why you're doing this? You're doing this for fun. The fact that it helps support you is a happy accident. Where do you sit on?
Yeah, and it doesn't make loads of money. It makes a reasonable amount of money. And as I say, when things get tight and I have to take less money out of the other businesses, it is going to help. But yeah, it never has been, it never will be about that. It is just purely for mine and hopefully a lot of other people's enjoyment. And this is something that I was quite keen when all this nonsense kicked off. I realized that actually there's a lot of people that read this website, and a lot of people got in touch and said, and I said, I'm going to put out more content because more people are submitting content. So I'm going to ramp up the amount that I'm putting out, and I'm going to ramp up the amount of time I'm spending on it. And really, I am spending a lot of time on it at the moment. It is a full-time job at the moment. And people have got in touch and said, look, I really appreciate the fact that you're putting all this effort in. And, it is 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever time it takes to read an article every day, or 2 articles a day as it currently is. That's downtime for people, and that's really nice. Do you know what I mean? That feels like a really positive thing to be a part of, and that's more important than than turning it into some sort of cash cow, isn't it?
Yeah, and also the cash cow would be, you'd work a lot harder and add 50%, 100%, whatever it is. It wouldn't be £1 billion, and you've lost every.
If I'd put all of this money into a website that was primarily about modern digital cameras, and I was getting the 400,000 page views a month that I'm getting now, I would be, doing well financially out of it, because I could do affiliate schemes and all this kind of crap, but I don't want to do that.
No,
I don't want to do that. I want to do what I want to do.
Well, but the key of doing a good blog is not thinking about, as you said, in CEO. It's like thinking about a good content, like in terms of quality, what people need. So when you think about, okay, what okay, I have this knowledge, so what I can do for the other people, then I mean, even though you haven't like used CEO strategies, then that content will reach more audience that it would do with a CEO strategy. I mean, I experience myself, like when I think about, okay, what I can do to help people, and I do something that it gets more engagement rather than just, you know, doing like you said, like the kind of the 6 tips that you can say for 35 male photographers. Like, no, I mean, if you think about a good content, then it will lead you to reach more audience. So I think that's the key.
And do you have, Marina? Yeah. So again, like it's interesting here that we have somebody who blogs, somebody who sells film, and you who are building a teaching and a services business. Do you have a content strategy? Would you say that, or do you just do stuff that you think people will enjoy and you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just, I think about, okay, really what I do, which, because I had the other day a conversation with my friend, and she was saying like, oh, Marina, I really like your strategy. Like, I really like how you write all the content and everything. I was like, strategy.
Me too.
Strategy? Hang on. No, what I'm really doing is like, okay. So for example, I shot a roll of, let's say, nomography Metropolis, and I showed it, okay, what will be my opinion about these, like my honest opinion. Or for example, okay, let's remember when I started taking photos with an SLR camera, what were the things that I really, you know, the problems that I got at that moment. So I just, you know, start thinking about what people need. So I don't have any strategy.
No.
So yeah.
I mean,
so I think that's the same with Hamish. I mean, and his blog, that, you know, they're thinking about, you know, how to help people with their knowledge, which is the key. Honestly, that's the key. Not like using things like, I mean, obviously CEO helps a lot. Okay, let's not deny that, please. But you know, when you're doing things like thinking about others, then, you know, that's when engagement happens.
And then that is like, again, to go back to it, that is what Google say. And we're using Google here, but you could substitute Facebook and Microsoft and everyone for this. They are trying to work out what people want, and what people want is good content. They want to engage with brands or with people who help them with what they're trying to do. I mean, I laugh about the strategy thing. Because Hamish has 50,000 Instagram, I think it is.
Well,
which is exactly, absolutely huge. Hamish, have you ever written down an Instagram strategy?
No.
Could you
me neither.
strategy, or is it just beautiful cameras?
What's the first half of that?
Would you say retrospectively you have a strategy, or do you just post?
I just take photos of cameras and put them on Instagram.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. I mean, I look at people who have nicely laid out, like every third photo does something that, so when you look at it, it does something nice, you know, spell something out, and I'm just like, I wish I had the knowledge, the time.
Yeah, I know. Just it doesn't. I don't know. I haven't got the mental capacity for that sort of thing. I just if I could put something on, it's just cameras.
I know. Well, it's good. So the one thing we want to, so we're over. By the way, we're overrunning massively. I'm really enjoying this. Are you guys still okay to carry on for a bit?
Yep.
My wife has just texted me wondering what I'm still doing.
Just say you have half a bottle of whiskey still to drink.
Well, I still have to finish my glass of wine, so
I still have to finish the
the bottle
bottle of whiskey. So all right then. Well, we're going to very briefly stop because we do have a final challenge to do. Now, the good news for Hamish is this is the one where he doesn't. Well, he leads it. So everyone, again, please grab a pen and paper and prepare yourselves. Steve is joining. Steve Lloyd's just joined. Hi, Steve. Are you in a wardrobe, Hamish? Yes. Yes, Hamish is in a wardrobe. He's actually one of the characters of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe.
Wow.
You have to read.
I like
Whoa,
that
that
one.
is
I have
incredible.
a spotty light. Now with the light on, everything looks spotty
That is
and
very
weird.
spotty.
But there you go. You have to deal
Okay.
with a spotty light now.
So one of the questions that people had was, you know, in the film photography world, we've talked a lot about 35MC, and that's a brilliant blog. There's a few other blogs that go around. One of them is Emulsive, which I think everyone's heard of. Emulsive, or Emus Live is often how it's spelled. Run by M. Now M is a secretive creature. He won't tell people his real name. He won't tell people what he looks like. He lives in a volcano in the Pacific Isles. He's currently asleep. Brilliant. While he's asleep, Hamish, you've met him. In fact, we have audio of you sat in a pub with him on your Hypersensitive Photographers podcast. So the challenge will be, you need to describe M to us. We will draw M based on your description. We will post on Twitter or Instagram, this is M. M is spelt E-M, by the way. E-M. Hashtag this is M. And Hamish, you're going to choose the photo on Twitter and Instagram that most looks like the M that you've seen to win, to be clear, to win 6 D-Max films. So is everyone clear that we are trying to unlock, through some kind of photo fit, M? And what I love is the idea that M wakes up tomorrow morning and just has loads of photos of people drawing with This Is M.
He's actually, the problem is with this, he's actually pixelated in real life.
Okay,
right.
So if you ever meet him, when you see him, he's just like a load of pixels.
This is helpful.
Pixels.
So clue number one.
The only thing that you can make out behind the pixels is that he has he's got very rosy red cheeks.
Okay.
I mean, we only have black and white pens, so rosy might be tricky, but
so rosy, big sort of rosy red cheeks.
Okay.
Sort of quite ruddy. You know, like string veins in his nose.
Nose.
Very, very bushy white eyebrows.
Okay.
And he wears a sort of. He's always got a very sort of large. He wears a lot of red.
Red's a tricky thing to do, but yeah.
So a lot of red with sort of white fur sort of edging to the red bits, if you see what I mean. And he has,
hang on a sec. You want us to do fur in pixels?
And he also has a very, very big white beard.
Okay, beard.
Okay. Mine's ended up a bit looking like God. But I think that's because the fur has ended up as wings. Okay. All right then. So is everyone clear? So if everyone would like to finish their... Yes, Santa is also coming up quite a lot. Hillary thinks Secret Santa. Correct. Secret Santa's a great name. Okay, so what we're going to do is... people are picking up on the Santa Claus link. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you our versions of M, and you can choose whether Marina or I captured the essence of M better. And then if everyone would like to put it on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram with the hashtag #ThisIsM, and again, tag us all so we can see it, Hamish will choose a winner. So is everyone ready for my This Is M? And to be clear, I cannot draw. You know how I said that no one expects me to be a good photographer? God, no one expects me to be a good artist. So, can everyone see this?
Oh, nice.
What do you think?
Down a bit. Down a bit. Down a bit.
Hang on.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. All right.
Pretty
Marina?
good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Marina?
Okay. Let's see.
Oh, that's kind of scary.
I know.
I like the way you did the same as me, where you started with loads of squares for the pixels, and then it went a bit strange.
Yeah, I mean...
No?
Who's closest?
Hey!
I think As much as it pains me, I think Paul's done a slightly better job there.
Hey, that's not fair.
There we go. All right then. So as I say, if everyone puts that on social media, I will grab my phone straight after this and put it on. Hamish, if you don't mind, tomorrow morning or in a couple of hours, just let me know who did the best, or retweeting it or something like that. And as I say, everyone make sure that you tag Emulsive in it so that he wakes up very confused. That is wonderful.
Jokes.
Thank you so
He
much.
won't be that confused because when he looks at your picture, he's going to go, "How did they get that picture of me?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, is that a photograph?
Yeah.
Must be. On a slightly serious point, do you and M discuss who will cover different things? 'Cause if you look at it,
No.
oh,
Oh, okay.
straight away.
We don't really talk about each other's content.
Out of like a Taylor Swift.
Hang on, but
Somebody
how did you
having-
know that it was him?
Well, when I met him,
Yeah,
because
if you didn't know.
he was the only person in the room.
Oh, okay.
Who was picked up?
We just the pub that we went to, there was nobody upstairs.
Nobody.
So it was
Okay.
him in the
But
room.
what kind of pub did you go?
But what if? How would you know if he hadn't like sent someone else?
Oh yeah, true.
He sounded sort of the same.
Good enough. Good enough. We'll believe it. So go on then. So you don't discuss content with him. You don't say.
We talk about the only thing that we talk about really that's to do with the websites are sort of how they're getting on from a technical point of view. Like we talk about each other's traffic, and when recently there's been a downturn in organic from people searching on the internet for other things, not photography stuff. So we talk a bit about that. But actually, to be honest, we're just really good mates now. So if we talk, we just talk crap like mates do, rather than anything to do with the website really. Which is now.
Dull. It'd be weird to turn up and be like, "How's your work going?"
Yeah, it's why now when you listen to the podcast, sort of increasingly, it's just got to the point that we just talk rubbish to each other.
I do like the fact that you started off with like, right, we've got topics, we've done things that are ready, and now it's just like.
Can you describe his voice?
His voice. Well, you can listen to him on the.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, actually, yeah. So,
yeah, would you like to plug a podcast at this point, Hamish? It's a natural point.
Which podcast?
You don't need to plug your own. You can plug anyone's.
The Adam Buxton podcast. Does that count?
Perfect. Really good. What's
That's
your
favorite
review that you've received for your podcast?
Say again.
What's your favorite review you've received for your podcast?
I have no idea. I don't look at them.
Okay, great. Because M's quite proud of some of them.
Yeah, he has told me they're quite. He's read them out to me a couple of times. They are amusing. But yeah, I don't know why anybody would listen to it, to be honest. And that's not just that's not false modesty. It is just it's just me and him just talking crap. I don't know why anybody would be in any way interested in it.
All right, then we're going to go a few quick fire questions, and then we'll wrap it up because we are running massively over. Have you ever thought of launching 120 mmc?
No.
Oh.
Have you ever thought about releasing a 35 mmc branded film?
Oh.
No.
Oh.
If you did, I'm going to plow on regardless. If you did, what would you want the main characteristics to be? Okay, here we go. That's a great one. So what?
That was John, wasn't it? I saw that. It would be a magical film that would predict the best output per photo.
Okay.
That's why I haven't done it, you see, because I don't have the power to create that.
Total sidetrack, but it's sort of on a theme. The number one most visited Analogue Wonderland page last year, by a long way.
The female ones. No. Oh.
Sadly, not. I wish.
Oh.
It was the blog that I put up with about 20 minutes work that was saying that the next Ilford film, so doing the sneak previews, was going to be HP 11, and it could take ultra wide and telephoto lenses. Like, it's not even that funny a joke. It was literally 20 minutes of like the iPhone 11 had just launched.
Yeah.
Everyone was so eager to do it, and we did this thing with him where he pretended that he found like it under embargo, and it went mental. What makes me really happy though is that people apparently, speaking to Ilford, people, especially in Asian markets, message them sharing the link saying, "Is this what it is?" This doesn't make sense as a concept. This isn't even a film. So yeah, good. No, that makes total sense with what you're saying. Okay, next one. If you could make one photo book of your work, would it be called Solitary Tree? You can guess who that question's from.
I don't know, but I reckon he's got a mouse stuck to his face.
What would, if you did one photo book? Because there's again, there's a famous saying that says everyone should create things. No one should die before they've written a song, wrote a book, and something. You've done one photo book. That is your life's moment. What would it be called?
Well, I have made some photo books of my kids. I do have, and I got approached about writing a book a few years ago, and I do intend to write the book that I thought they wanted me to write. The reason I didn't end up writing it was because it turned out that they didn't want me to write a book that I wanted to write. They wanted me to put words to the stuff that they wanted me to write about.
And we'll fill in the blanks for you. They wanted you to write top 100 things about the M6, and you wanted to write the memoirs of Hamish Gill.
They wanted me to write a book that was called 35, as they used to call it, 35 mm, not 35 millimeter. It was just called 35 mm to me every time we spoke about it. Doesn't matter how many times I corrected it. No, it's not 35 mm, it's 35 millimeter.
Who would say that?
Within this book, they wanted me to talk about large format photography and medium format. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And they're like, yeah, but we wanted to cover all sorts of analog photography. And I'm like, we'll call it analog photography then. They're like, no, this book's called that. We're going with 35 mm. But we want it to be about all these other things.
Well, and this was from your website, so they wanted to carry the brand over, or they just literally...
I don't know. They found me, decided I was the right person to write for them, and lots of people have written for them. So that guy Lomo Kev, he's written for them, I think, and Roger Hicks, who's sadly no longer with us, he wrote a lot of books for them quite a few years ago, and yeah, a few other people, I think. And they're apparently a reasonably reputable publisher, but you get a chunk of cash, they tell you what to write, you write it, they give you the cash, they publish the book, you go around promoting the book for them, and then that's the end of it. And I was not up for that. But anyway, it inspired me to write a book, and the guy who was put as my editor is a guy called Chris, who is the editor of Outdoor Photography magazine currently, I think, and a couple of others, or one of the editors at. And so we've kept in touch, and we've talked about putting together a book. He's had some things that have prevented him from being involved in the project for a while. But yeah, I think one day the intention is when I've got all of the things out of my brain onto the blog that I want to be in the book, I will then rewrite them for the book, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What would it be like a...
it's just going to be the stuff that I talk about, like this stuff about just doing the thing. Basically, the core concept of the book is, if you like taking photos, take photos, and don't worry what everybody else is telling you to do.
And would this sit in photography, travel, or self-help?
Self-help.
Good. Good. Quite right too. Marina, would you, if you had the same thing, photo book or a book in general, one topic or subject or thing that really draws you?
You mean like a photographic book or a book that...
Well, I was thinking photo book, but Hamish has now opened my eyes to self-help as well, through photography.
Yeah, well, I think I would probably do a photo book about, like mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I've been interested in how things like how our brain works and link it to photography, like how do we see the patterns and then we take the photos and then I think it's all connected basically. So I would probably write and take photos for them, for that book about mental health and how our brain works.
I think that's brilliant. I mean, I'd read that book. I think it's interesting that you see you see certain things come up time and time again. I think with when you spend all day and night in the film photography community, I think you see certain surprising correlations. One thing I definitely see is there seems to be a huge number of people with dyslexia or dyspraxia. I think that's a correlation I didn't necessarily expect. And there's definitely one that is about mental health and people who've struggled. And I've had terrible anxiety over time, so I'm not putting myself outside of that. Who find photography as a useful mindfulness / therapy.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah.
So no, I'd read that. Definitely.
Oh, thanks.
Kenneth has asked a question, Hamish. What are your thoughts on zines?
The obvious answer to that is, if you want to make a zine, then make a zine. I've not made one before, but I'm probably gonna make one out of these Metropolis photos that I was talking about earlier, the Minolta ones.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
But I might not. It depends on how much time I've got.
No, I like
it. I think go for it. I just don't. I think a lot.
Do you think that just because I used to hear quite a lot that only photographers buys photo books? Do you think that is true?
Yeah, maybe. I don't think that it necessarily matters. I think we as a community of photographers probably to a lesser great degree have to accept that unless we somehow manage to become fan ho, we're not going to have anybody buy our stuff unless there are other photographers, and I think that's probably fine. No, I mean, I'd like to be as good as Fanho, but I'm pretty certain I'm never going to be as good as Fanho. So I might as well just accept that and kind of just get on with enjoying it. And if let other people like my photos, then great. They don't.
What I love about
I like your attitude. Yeah.
Someone saying what's the difference between a photo book and a zine. I think a zine is, generally speaking, more casually put together. It doesn't require a big print run. You can do 2 or 10. I mean, I have Karen Freer's one. I said this a couple of weeks ago. And it's really stuck with me. And it's not necessarily because of the quality of the photographs, although I obviously love the photographs. It's because the topic, roller derby, is so outside my life that the thought of somebody not just going there and it being like, oh, cool, I went to this roller derby and talking about it, to go as far as creating something physical and sending it in the post to me makes it something that I really engage with. And now I'm suddenly looking up the rules of roller derby. And maybe that could be Canadian football, or it could be any other sport. The one that's on your blog. But it almost forces an engagement that's different to anything else. And also, I think you got to respect that someone has put time and their own money generally into it.
Hamish, do you usually print your work often? No. And do you think?
Have you heard Hamish's rant about how he burns his negatives in a massive? Have you heard this?
Okay.
You know this? Hamish throws away negatives.
No, how?
No, I just print a photo book of my.
But literally, do you throw away? Yeah. Okay.
So once a year I do a photo book of my kids.
Oh.
And I do print some photos. I've got some photos up on the wall around the house.
Well, yeah, I was thinking, what are the photos that you have behind you? Like the biggest one. Well, okay, let's see. Oh.
It's my daughter and our dog.
Kawaii.
And this is my wife with a politician. And that's all other stuff. And that's my wife's family. So yeah, we just have that.
That's good. So is there a correlation between the cameras that you enjoy taking photos of most and what ends up around your house every day?
No.
Which goes back to, I think, our chat earlier about what makes a good camera, because most people would think the point of a camera is to take a photograph to make it visible for other people, and
Oh.
Marina, what do you think?
I mean, when I Yeah, like if I'm thinking that okay, I want to do like I have an idea and I want to take photos of it, and then I want to probably make some big prints because I'm used to always like print my photos, and I usually print them like or A4 size, or even if I want to make it as a book, I probably use like medium format, which I know, Hamish, that you would probably like not agree with that, but like it's just that. I mean, as long as you're not printed your photos as A2, doesn't matter. I mean, I'm sure that nobody's going to do a A2 photo book, but yeah, in my opinion, I will use a medium format camera because I really like to enlarge the pictures that I do. But yeah, I mean, sometimes maybe that thing could be like, you know, maybe restricting people to, okay, if I want to take like artistic photos, I have to use medium format, which is completely wrong. Okay, you can even use a disposable camera to take photos and then make a photo book of it. There you go. Or even phone. Yeah, phone. Yeah, any camera, even a pinhole camera. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you feel that you get better results for enlarging your photos out of large medium format, then that's fine. Not going to never argue with that. But,
Going back to Hamish's core philosophy,
yeah.
enjoying it, crack on.
From a technical point of view, I have delivered photos that have been printed on billboards on there's a billboard in Worcester that used to have one of my photos on for quite a while, and it was taken on it was delivered at 6 megapixels, 3000 by 2000 pixels.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
But
I would refuse that if I was going to print it. Like, nope, I'm not going to print that.
The only real time that you need high resolution for large printed photos is if those large printed photos are going to be. So if you go into a fashion shop, you stand next and you can get physically close to an image that is printed on a wall, that's when you need high resolution cameras. Otherwise, the further you stand away, the larger the pixels that can be. It's circular confusion. So that you can be further away and the image look fine when you have bigger pixels. So it doesn't, and of course with, enlarging algorithms and stuff, you just don't need the resolution that people think that you need. And this is why this is the farce of modern digital cameras.
Well, I was about to say, this is exactly why digital cameras, and I'm not kicking them because we're on analog television, this is exactly what the digital camera problem was, that they went to this mirrorless or medium format, or this is better, and you just go, the resolution that you're talking is irrelevant in 99.9% of cases. So you're selling a number that you're not using.
It's used by a tiny fraction of people.
No, exactly.
So, and yes, it's useful to have the resolution, and the most useful thing with resolution, we really should knock this on the head soon. The most useful thing with resolution is the ability to crop. And the reason I enjoy my Sony A7R,
that's a good point. Yeah,
whatever it is when I take photos with it, and it's got a button on the top of it. I click a button and it zooms in to 1.5 times. It crops basically quite a lot. So I put my 85mm lens on it. I press the button, it zooms in some, and it crops down to about 15 megapixels. 15 megapixels is still more than
this is why the whole like X100 Fuji thing is genius. They have 3 lenses on. You move it and it has a different focal length. It's just a crop. But from a mentality point of view, the way it crops down to even the third one is still more than enough resolution that I need. But mentally, it means I have a wide format on the telephoto and I crack and quite happily. All right, you're right. We should really kill this and leave it in a ditch. So if anyone has any final questions, please pop them in the comments. In the meantime, Marina and I will do one last question each.
Sure.
Oh, Marina, do you have one lined up? If not, I've got one.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
right.
you go first.
So, I really want to know if you're at the moment working on any photographic project. Like if you have a concept on your mind, and okay, I want to take pictures of it, of this concept, and make something of it?
The thing that I'm going to do in the sort of nearest future, is that a thing? Nearest future,
Yep.
is I just HP5 5.4 off Paul and some Cine Still D F60 96.
96.
96. And I bought my chroma home from the office, and I'm going to try and sort of, I don't know, try and engage my daughter in some large format film photography in that garden. Does that count?
Yeah, it counts. It counts.
Marina, do you have a project?
Not a solid project, but I was, taking pictures about what I think about this whole situation. Well, more particularly, how do I feel about, about the whole situation. Let's not mention the
No
name.
word. No C word. No.
No words. But yeah, just basically, how to, the positive things that we can, think about this situation, and the not good, the things I'm trying to deal with, like, isolation, and, that it is a, a good opportunity for the human being to, to take time to ourselves and reflect on our life, basically. So yeah, that's what I wanted to. Yeah, I've shot a few photos thinking about that concept. But yeah, the thing is that one of the things I still need to do is to work about how to create things, and then like physical things, to put out my work. Yeah, that's one of the things I have to do.
No, that's brilliant, and I love the way that Hamish has described like a relationship with the stories as a project. You got a concept. I mean, for me, it's finished FP4 party, because that was it was loaded in my camera. Yeah. March just came like a fucking express train into the side. I've now got it to the point where it just needs developing and scanning, and that will be massive. And I think, what we've all talked about is the difference in there is no right or wrong way. That's 3 projects with very different things. All right then. Okay, I'll go with the question, and then Hamish, you can have a final question as well. All right then. This is highly subjective, and I'm going to leave all the nuances in, and you can just roll with it. But what's the worst camera that you love? And I'm going to translate that as, it's objectively bad, subjectively great.
Well, it's probably, I mean, I've mentioned it a few times now, it probably is that Minolta Riva Panorama, because, it is really very, very basic.
Marina, what's the worst camera that you love?
Well, I think I would probably say it's good. It's because nobody knows that brand, but Carrefour used to make, cameras. Well, cameras, bridges, DVD players, like long time ago on the 90s. So I got a camera that is called the Blue Sky camera, which is a point and shoot camera from Carrefour. But yeah, it's like Hamish's camera is like not brilliant, but it's one of the cameras that I really love the most, because my father gave it to me, and it's just Blue Sky Carrefour. It's like Carrefour point and shoot camera, but yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
That sounds like an article for 35mmC. Just it's right there. I think the worst camera that I love, I'm going to go with the Lomography Constructor, because objectively, like it's a like what's the right word? Like an Airfix camera where you pop out the parts and it comes together. But some of the photos that have come back are just unbelievable. The only question that's come in, Jeremy North, Ask
I've just
Hamish,
tried.
have you used his contacts? Oh, no.
Nope.
No.
All right, then.
Soft to say.
Hamish,
I had plans, but
we have overrun by 100% of the time, and again, there's a text where I say we never overrun. Don't worry about it. What's the question that you have to wrap up the session?
I would like to know if both Neil and Jeremy are satisfied with how I have partaken in this.
So, well, hang on a sec. Let's.
thing.
So there was on the one hand, be a grown-up, rise above the Maya that is personified by Graham, and on the other hand, we have enjoy the Maya, bask in it, and which do you think you've done?
I'd probably, well, I don't know, probably more gone down Jeremy's road, haven't I?
I mean, your swearing has been notably lower
No.
than
I did try.
we thought.
Okay.
In fact, the only swear word I said was a swear word that Neil said, so I didn't take
Exactly, it was a direct quote. It was like I wouldn't do this normally, but
Yeah.
Well, listen, guys, thank you so much. First of all,
Neil says no, mate, poor effort. Jeremy says totally, you've been great.
and there we go. We have the answers. Well, first of all, Marina, thank you so much. You stepped
Thanks
in.
to you.
You stepped into the hole that Graham left and been better in every way, as we expected. But it's also lovely to be. Hamish as well. Thank you so much. Been outstanding. Have we asked too many basic questions, or has that been okay for you?
No, it's good. It's most enjoyable.
Excellent. All right then. So there is some lomography film on the way to the people who tied. Please message me, otherwise I will literally forget. And then Hamish is going to judge your depictions, your images of M. So remember to put them on social media so he can choose
That one.
There we go. That guy.
That one, the first one.
The pixelated Santa Claus / God, depending on your viewpoint of life. Thanks so much everyone for getting involved. Hugely helpful. And now all I need to do is finish the live broadcast correctly, which, based on past history, 1 out of 2 times I do every